Mr. Mons, do you need to speak to your client?
Yes, my audio seems to be very low. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you. The clerk will get you connected to your client. I see that Van Buren has just logged on. I'm ready to go as soon as you come out of that breakout room.
All right, thank you.
Officer Wyman,
Yes.
can you join room one? Go back to room one.
It says I'm in it.
You know, but the really is, what are you?
iPhone user, what is your name and what are you here for?
Hello.
Yes, what is it that you're here for?
Hi. My name is Lakia Slupstill. I'm the mother of Caleb Hayes.
And how is your phone appearing as Zoom mute? Are you?
It's appearing when I touch the screen. It just shows them. It was showing the court, but it's not showing anything now.
All right, thank you. I will change this so it says that you're Mr. Haynes' mother.
Okay.
Sir, with just the iPhone, you're appearing as iPhone. What is your name, please, and what are you here for? You need to unmute yourself so we can hear you. Sir, with iPhone, what is your name and what are you here for?
Your Honor, it wouldn't let him speak. It's, that was Dylan Stuckstill, Caleb Plain's brother.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
He-
sorry. It wouldn't allow me to speak.
Okay, so you're just here to witness the arraignment?
Yes, yeah, that's my little brother.
Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
talk to you first. We'll see what name they call.
This is 230659 FY, State of Michigan versus Caleb Haynes.
Come stand here.
Your appearance, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. May it please the court, Douglas Mons, P4 916 on behalf of Mr. Haynes.
Sir, state your name for me.
Caleb Haynes.
Mr. Haynes, you've had the opportunity to speak to your attorney this afternoon, and you understand why you're here.
Yes.
Mr. Mons, how are we proceeding with the arraignment in this matter?
Your Honor, we waive the formal reading. Stand mute. Ask that a plea of not guilty be entered on his behalf.
Mr. Haynes, you were able to hear your attorney just now?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, he's waived your right to have the formal reading of the complaint against you and entered a plea of not guilty on your behalf. There was a petition for a court-appointed attorney attached to the front of the file. Mr. Mons, are you actually the retained attorney in this matter?
Yes, I'm retained, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Haynes, you also have the right to be considered for pretrial release. The recommendation from Van Buren Township is that your bond be set at $10,000 cash with the condition that you be placed on a GPS tether and that you have no contact with the victim, Donovan Shook, in this matter. Mr. Mons, what say you to this recommendation?
Your Honor, I would disagree with the recommendation and ask that Mr. Haynes be put on the $10,000 personal bond. He's 19 years old. He has strong ties to the community, no risk of flight at all here. And he's working full time for the University of Michigan and also recently attained a second job at O'Reilly's. He lives most of the time with his mother and also with his father. He has numerous responsibilities. And I think this case results from a misunderstanding between the parties. So I believe a $10,000 personal bond with a no contact provision with the defendant would be sufficient. And I would also note that Mr. Haynes' brother and mother are in the courtroom and he has tremendous family support in this matter. So based upon these, I believe that the $10,000 personal bond with no contact provisions is sufficient to secure his return.
Mr. Mons, respectfully, there is nothing on the bond recommendation that indicates the basis for the request set forth by the Public Safety Department. The court will deviate from that recommendation and place Mr. Haynes on 5,010% because of the nature of the allegations contained in the information in this matter. Should he post, he will be placed on GPS, will not be released without GPS tether. And he has no contact with the victim in this case, that being Donovan Shook. Mr. Haynes, just so we're all on the same page, no contact means no contact, no direct contact, no contact through third parties, no contact through social media. Should the court be made aware of any attempt by you to have communication or contact with the complainant in this case, it could be viewed as a violation of the terms of your bond. Your bond could be revoked and you can spend the rest of these proceedings in custody. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, Judge.
Sir, your next appearance date will be next Wednesday, September 6, 2023 at 8:30 a.m. That will be on Zoom. Back with me, Judge Martin, in courtroom number 1. Mr. Mons, anything else on behalf of your client?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. We'll get that paperwork over to Public Safety Department as soon as possible. Mr. Haynes, I'll see you next Wednesday. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
Daryl Frederick.
There you go.
Mr. Frederick, you have appears to be 7 outstanding matters. There's an indication on the file that you're waiving your right to have the assistance of the court-appointed attorney. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
You intend to proceed with the arraignments on your own?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Frederick, we'll start with 2205840M. This is Van Buren Township versus Daryl Frederick. Sir, it's alleged that on July 8th, 2022 in Van Buren Township that you did steal merchandise while at Meyer Retail Store located at 9701 Belleville Road within Van Buren Township. That store being open to the public for business at the time of the incident. You were observed by Meyer Loss Prevention selecting merchandise and passing all points of purchase without offering payment for the merchandise in the amount of approximately $170.95. Sir, this is a misdemeanor punishable up to 93 days in jail and fines of up to $500 plus court costs. There is a recommendation from Van Buren Township Public Safety that you be placed on 10% bond because you have an outstanding felony case for cocaine in Pittsfield Township and retail fraud, a misdemeanor out of Pittsfield. What is your response to the bond recommendation, Mr. Frederick?
Your Honor, I'll be back at court, at my court date, and I have no reason to flight risk, and I just, I'll make sure I show up on time. And I want to get these matters behind me.
Mr. Frederick, respectfully, you have quite a number of cases, all from Van Buren Township, all with the same allegation of retail fraud from that Myers. The court has concerns for the public safety, as well as the fact that you've continued to reoffend within the township after you submitted a request in one of the files while you were in custody in another jurisdiction for something else. Sir, because you're not represented this afternoon, the court will have you stand mute to the charges against you. Set your bond in the 220584 matter at $5,000, 10%. Do not return to Meyer. And your next appearance date in all these matters, sir, will be on a pretrial on September the 7th, 2023 at 9 a.m. That's in person with Judge Oakley in courtroom number 2. There's an order for fingerprints attached to the front of this file and a few others, sir. The court has signed that. You will need to submit have your fingerprints taken by Van Buren Township. There's 2205850M Van Buren Township versus Daryl Frederick. Sir, this is a case that alleges that on June 3rd, 2022, again in Van Buren Township, you committed retail fraud by stealing merchandise while at Meyer Retail Store located in 9701 Belleville Road within the Van Buren Township. That store being open to the public for business at the time of the incident. You were observed by Meyer Loss Prevention selecting merchandise and passing all points of purchase without offering payment for the merchandise in the amount of approximately $184.98. Again, sir, because you're unrepresented, the court will have you stand mute to those charges.
I didn't understand that you represented it, I would be representing myself. I know,
no. Unrepresented by an attorney. When I say not represented, that means not represented by an attorney. You have the absolute right to represent yourself.
I want to represent myself.
I understand, sir. Your bond in this matter will be set at $5,000 personal. Again, your next appearance date will be a pretrial in person on September 7th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in courtroom number 2. That's with Chief Judge Brian Oakley. Again, there's an order for fingerprint attached to the front of that file. The court has signed that you need to have your fingerprints taken by the Public Safety Department. Yes, that first case was set as a Zoom because it's presumed that he's in custody. So if he's not able to post, he would still be by Zoom. This is 2-VB-01135OM Van Buren Township versus Daryl Frederick. Sir, it's alleged that on July 15, 2022, again in Van Buren Township, you committed the act of retail fraud, a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and fines of up to $500 plus court costs. Sir, the court will again set your bond at $5,000 personal in this matter with a do not return to Meyer. with your next appearance date of September the 7th at 9 a.m. in person with Judge Oakley. Order for fingerprints has been signed, 2300110 Van Buren Township versus Daryl Frederick. Sir, is alleged that on December 10th, 2022 in Van Buren Township, you committed the acts of retail fraud and trespass. Sir, it's alleged that you did steal merchandise from Meyer located 9701 Belleville Road within Van Buren Township, the store being open to the public for business at the time of the incident. You were observed by Meyer Loss Prevention selecting merchandise and passing all points of purchase without offering payment for the merchandise in the amount of approximately $773.94. There's count 2, unlawful entry or refusal to leave on that same date, that date being December 10, 2022, that you did willfully enter upon the lands or premises of Meyer without lawful authority after having been forbidden to do so by the owner, occupant, agent, or servant. Sir, the court again will have you stand mute to the charges against you in this matter. Set your bond at $5,000 personal. Do not return to Meyer. Your next appearance date is September the 7th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in person in courtroom number 2 with Chief Judge Brian Oakley. Again, there's an order for fingerprints, 23VB01710OM, Van Buren Township versus Daryl Frederick, retail fraud. Sir, is alleged that on May 13, 2023, again, retail fraud at the Meyer with the amount alleged to have been stolen being $570.62. Sir, again, misdemeanor, subject to up to 93 days in jail and up to $500 fine plus court costs. Court will set your bond at $5,000 personal with a order that you do not return to the Meyer. Next appearance date, September the 7th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in courtroom number 2 with Chief Judge Brian Oakley. Last case for you, Mr. Frederick, is 23VB017110M Van Buren Township versus Frederick. Sir, is alleged that on May the 14th, 2023, again in Van Buren Township, you committed the act of retail fraud back at the Meyer at 9701 Belleville Road, misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail and fines up to $500 plus court costs. The amount alleged stolen on that date, sir, was $814.80. Court will set your bond at $5,000 personal with an order that you do not return to the Meyer. Your next court date will be on September 7th, 2023 at 9 a.m. in person in courtroom number 2 with Chief Judge Brian Oakley. Mr. Frederick, that concludes your matters.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Kaplan, Mr. Holloway, we'll get you into a breakout room with him. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Kaplan.
Thank you. I won't be able to do it myself, so if someone could move me in the breakout room.
Can you put Caleb back there? I'm still fingerprinting. Which one's the inside? He was in 4. Yeah. You're gonna come with me in the hallway again, because when we're done, I just fingerprint you. 500. They're just stuck right there. You want some more? You want 500? No? Right. No.
Van Buren,
Yes.
I'm sorry, would you get Mr. Holloway moved in with Mr. Kaplan?
I do not have access for that. I don't know how to do that.
Oh. You don't see an invitation to go into a breakout room?
No.
Okay. I don't know how you did it before, because
That's
Mr. Mons
the
was
court.
speaking to.
The court did it for me.
Well, we have Marlisa and Mary Ann on, so somebody will help you get Mr. Holloway moved in with Mr. Kaplan. Marlisa and Mary Ann, did I misunderstand the first one, your question?
No, Judge, Marlisa called me and you answered her question.
Okay. This is 230658FY, State of Michigan versus Evan Nathaniel Holloway. Your appearances, please.
Joshua Kaplan on behalf of Mr. Holloway. Mr. Holloway, can you state your name for the record?
Evan Holloway.
Thank you. Mr. Holloway, you had a chance to discuss your case with Mr. Kaplan, and you understand why we're here this afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Kaplan, please proceed with the arraignment.
All right, for purposes of arraignment, Your Honor, we're going to waive formal reading, stand mute to the charges.
Thank you. Mr. Holloway, Mr. Kaplan has waived your right to have a reading of the formal complaint against you as you stand mute to those charges. Sir, you have an absolute right to be represented by an attorney in this felony matter. If you're unable to retain an attorney through your own resources, the court is able to appoint one for you. There is petition for court-appointed attorney attached to the front of your file. The court has signed that. You will be assigned an attorney going forward. It will not be Mr. Kaplan. It will be another attorney who relies on the information on that form to be in contact and communication with you. Sir, you also have a right to be considered for pretrial release. The recommendation from Van Buren Township Department of Public Safety recommends that your bond be set at 10,000 cash, that you be placed on GPS tether, and that you have no contact with the victim in this case, that being Donovan Shuck. Mr. Kaplan, what say you to this recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, we are requesting a lower cash bond with 10%. My client is not working this time. He's studying for his GED. He's actually taking the test in 2 weeks. He currently lives with his mom. As far as I'm aware, there is no real criminal history here of any convictions. So this is his first alleged offense. We would request a low cash bond with 10%. We were hoping for a $1,000 10% bond. He is intending to come to all future court dates. He is a local in Van Buren Township. And we're asking that there be no GPS tether. If the court would be willing, I do believe that he will be there, no problem, and there's no concern of him contacting Donovan Shuck. He has no objection to the no contact order.
Thank you. Respectfully, Mr. Kaplan, Mr. Holloway has another case where he's failed to appear for this court. So the court has some concerns about his participation and appearance at future hearings in this case. He also has a criminal history that has a previous allegation, including gun charge and other things that gives the court cause for concern for the public safety. The court will set Mr. Holloway's bond at 10,000, 10%. Sir, if you're able to post that bond, you will be not released without a GPS tether for location purposes. You are to have no contact with the complainant, in this case, that being Donovan Shuck. Sir, no contact means no contact, no direct contact, no contact through third parties, no contact through social media. Should this court receive reports that you've made efforts to be in contact or communication with the complainant, it could be viewed as a violation of the terms of your bond could be revoked, and you could spend the rest of these proceedings in custody. Sir, your next appearance date will be a probable cause conference next Wednesday, September 6th at 8:30 a.m. by Zoom in courtroom number 1 with me, Judge Martin. Again, this case number is 230658FY. Next appearance date, September 6th, 8:30 a.m. on Zoom. Mr. Kaplan, there's also 23VB00417BOT. Van Buren Township versus Holloway. This was a driving while license license expired from January 29, 2023. Did you have a chance to discuss that with Mr. Holloway?
Your Honor, I wasn't aware that was also on there, but we would waive formal reading stamp mute to those charges as well. Ask that it be set for a court date.
Thank you. Mr. Holloway, your bond for the expired license will be 1,000 personal. You don't need to post for this second misdemeanor file, but what you must do is appear as directed. Your next court date in this case will be on September 7th at 9 a.m. in person in courtroom number 2 with Chief Judge Brian Oakley. Anything else in this matter, Mr. Kaplan?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Van Buren?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Holloway, I will see you next Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. here in courtroom number 1. Good luck to you. Thank you, Van Buren.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day, Your Honor.
Thank you. You too, Mr. Kaplan. Thank you, Marlisa and Marianne. I think that's it for us for the day.
You're welcome, Judge. I did send Josh the traffic ticket. He might not have gotten it through the thing.
I understand. He looks like he was in between things too. Sometimes hard to get the paperwork.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.